is RamView.
It's hot out there, so let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, okay.
Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Terozine, and this is RamView, the October 22nd, 2025 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident, need help, got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word. KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at Temple City Auto Repair.com. And a new friend of the show, Sports Ball Games, which we'll be talking more about in the days and weeks to come. And as we get to the middle of the show. So I know it's 3:15. Our usual time here is about 5. But because I'm breaking in the Ustream, and some of you guys are there, and right now we're broadcasting live on X, Facebook, and on YouTube, I'm just trying to get the handle of this. You know, I don't have a producer. The kid's working on his own. So if you're reading this on any separate site there, if you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, just let us know where you're picking us up at. I'm just using the new toys here. I got all kinds of new little screen things that I can use, and so do appreciate your guys' patience. And then what we're going to do is I like the 5 o'clock slot, but I'm also noticing that during the football season it's just brutal to keep because we're playing games on Mondays and Friday nights are always tough for everybody. So we're just working things out here real quick, and it is a bye week for the Rams, so it's a good week to play with things. And so let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know where you're chiming in at. I see we are picking up viewers as we go. So cool. If you're been here for the first time, be sure to leave a like, hit subscribe buttons. If not, leave a comment. Let us know you're there. All right, I want to do a final ad on the Jacksonville game. And I give full credit to Rams Wire on this. And this comes from someone that works. I haven't seen him before. Usually I'm reading Cam DeSelva stuff, and he does a pretty good job there. Very good job at Rams Wire. But I ran across this one, and I didn't see it anyplace else. Mike Masala from Rams Wire wrote, from 2021 to 2024, the Rams used 13 personnel on just 6 plays total. That's 4 seasons running 13 personnel on just 6 plays. That's 1 running back and 3 tight ends, like we brought up on Monday's show. Against the Jaguars, they ran 13 personnel on nearly 40% of their snaps. That is pretty amazing. What a great adjustment there by that was a great adjustment there by McVay. All right, Tribe. It looks to me, Joe, I'm on YouTube. Okay, I'm assuming it looks good to you. All right, thank you, Tribe. I do appreciate that. That is awesome. We're kind of breaking through here. Just keep dropping stuff in there, guys. Okay, so again, I'm playing and fiddling with the graphic stuff here and all that kind of stuff. So I do have something I want to put up. Again, it is, how do we say this? It is a bye week, so it's a chance to just look at some things differently. And right now, I want to throw up what PFF is saying about the Rams. Now, for a lot of years there, we took PFF as the gospel. But the more you dive into it, I don't know if something's lessened with them. The more you dive into PFF, sometimes you're looking at it, and what they're telling you is not what your eyes are seeing. And I view them, you know, that's the baseline approach to anything. I'll start there, but then I'm going to trust my eyes, especially if you followed football for as long as many of us have. So I do want to post this. This is kind of a cool deal here. Dano. All right, Dano, past Mike Negretti, thank you guys for clicking on. So this is the Rams. Let's see, let's get this right there. Okay, this is the Rams lineup here on PFF, okay, and their grades. And if you guys want to look to that, and I promise we'll get to the trade deadline talk and all that stuff, guys. But if you look at it, this is them in their standard 11 personnel. They do have a a 12 personnel base they go into, but doesn't list a 13 personnel. So you got, wide receiver slot, wide receiver, you got the 5 linemen, 1 running back, standard look. And then on the other side, you see the defense. And so when you see players listed in the green, it means they're grading really well with PFF. If you look over to what would be your left as you're looking on the screen there, you're seeing Devontae Adams. He's ranked 10th out of 121 receivers. He's in the 80th percentile there, 80.5. And you could assess that with your own eyes and say, hey, they nailed that one. They did. I think they nailed that. Look in the slot there. They got Jordan Whittington, 109. And based on Whittington's production and maybe some, what would you say? His some mental mistakes that he's made, he's ranked appropriately. Go to the other side, you see Nakua's in the blue, and he's ranked first out of all receivers. All those things make sense. The Ferguson ranking is at 69.4, which is still good, but he hasn't had enough snaps to qualify. All right, you see Stafford's number 3. I don't know who's ahead of him. My guess it would be, whoever. It's probably Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes and a couple of those guys. But we see Stafford's and his rating is listed accordingly. Kyron Williams, accordingly, right? Now you look at the offensive line, and this one's interesting. I think it's a fair assessment of Havenstein. I really do. He hasn't played, and when he's played, he hasn't played up to his usual self. But look where Kevin Dotson, out of all the guards in the league, Kevin Dotson is graded at number 2, and Steve Avila, who's been back now for 2 weeks, has been graded. He's the 4th out of 82 guards listed. And you got to understand, I know you understand, there are 32 teams. That means there are 64 starting guards in the NFL. And according to PFF, both our guards are in the top 5. I like our guards. I like our guards a lot. But does that really rank as a top 5 guard room? I mean, Dotson is suspect in pass, excellent against the run. And Avila's been kind of a mystery for about a year and a half. And I think that grading is interesting. Alaric Jackson, I think that one is stone cold. You got it. Perfect. No problem. And then you look at Coleman Shelton and you have to wonder who's grading that one, because are there 24 other starting centers in the league that are worse than Coleman Shelton? And that one's one of those grain of salt things that you have to kind of look at. If you look at defense there, you got Darius Williams, 11 out of 112 corners. I don't think we would say that. I think we would agree with Quentin Lake's ranking, 10th out of 100 out of 83. I think we'd fully agree with our linebackers rating with Landman and Spates. I think we'd go along with Verse and Young. Those aren't too bad. One guy, and I don't know why he's not listed in here in this defense, is Poona Ford. And Poona Ford grades out really well also. And then Durant there. But some of the grades, you should go to them. You should use them. I still subscribe. I pay for a subscription to PFF because it's got a lot of stuff. It's great. But those how would you say it? Those grade levels there for looking at Shelton and Avila, some of those things are just, I'm not too sure about that. Also, a couple other players I wanted to get to real quick here. Poona Ford was one. I think Poona Ford's been really solid. And then you got Sean Dolak, who didn't make a defensive snap this past week. He didn't play a defensive snap, and I think we were kind of hoping for it. I think he had 34 snaps against Baltimore, but we didn't see him against Jacksonville getting any snaps. And then there's Ty Hamilton, who is slowly picking up snaps along the way. He's appearing in a lot of games. They're incorporating him, and that's why DeJuan Johnson has been deactivated the last few weeks. DeJuan Johnson only has 11 snaps this whole year. And then you start looking at our backup edge players. Nick Hampton has appeared in 6 of 7 games. He's played 54 snaps already this year. His career high in snaps is 67. That goes back to his rookie year in 2023. So you do see a number 6. That's the number he's wearing this year. You see it on the field much more often. And I'm wondering where he stands, if there is any plan to bring Keir Thomas back. Keir Thomas was pretty good during the summer, and it looked like he had wrapped up that veteran backup spot, and then he got hurt. And I'm not sure what's happening with him right now. And Hampton's filling that role. And then the one who is the number 3 edge guy is Josiah Stewart. Stewart has already played 164 snaps. He's played more snaps in his career than Nick Hampton has as a rookie. Stewart played 34 snaps in London. In 7 games, he's got 6 hurries, 3 hits, 2 sacks, a knockdown pass in week 1, and 1 pass breakup. And the Rams really scored there with Josiah Stewart. And that'll be the thing as you keep an eye on. I saw the article today that talked about Byron Young has had sacks in 11 straight games. I think it was. He has a chance to set a record. I didn't think about that, but Byron Young, when he comes up for that second contract, will be going on 29. What will the Rams do? Because they're going to have to pay some of these guys, right? They're going to have to pay him. You know, Braden Fisk was another one that didn't grade really well according to PFF. But I don't think we have a problem with how Braden Fisk has played this year. And, you know, sooner or later, in another year, you're going to pay Kobe Turner. The conductor will be going into his 4th year next year. So he's going to be in a contract year. Byron Young will be in his contract year. And then the year after that, you're going to be looking at other guys coming in like Braden Fisk and Jared Verse. So Josiah Stewart was a great snag. But my feeling is, could he be the guy that allows the Rams to either trade or maybe just allow to walk in free agency in Byron Young? Because he's been fantastic. It's one thing to say, yeah, Verse gets all the attention and he eats, but you still got to finish these plays, and Byron Young has. And he's been better on the edge this year as well. So, Dano, Pastor Joe, you're fancy now. I know. I lost all my viewers here too. So I shouldn't have done it. Usually we're a higher click than this. Let's see here. Let's keep moving on real quick. And I'll get to this. Torrey Holt and London Fletcher both advance to the final 52 of NFL Hall of Fame induction process. Steven Jackson did not make it to this list. He should have. But Torrey Holt, we know, should be in. And London Fletcher should have been in a long time ago. London Fletcher should be in the Hall of Fame. When I look at a guy like Robert Brazil, Andre Tippett, I know Tippett was a different position than Fletcher was. I saw those guys play. They were okay. London Fletcher was special, and he should have been in the Hall of Fame a long, long time ago. All right, let's just keep plugging along. If you guys have questions, just fire them at me. I am happy checking it out on YouTube right now. Thank you, Shay Stewart. I do appreciate it. And Shay, since you're here, I was going to share about our friends here, because if you're looking for a way to bring your crew together on game day without the gambling stress or fantasy overload, try Sports Ball Games. Free pick 'em squares, live leaderboards, bragging rights built in. One click and you're in. No fees, no spreadsheets, no headaches. Just sports fun your whole group can enjoy. Whether you're cheering from the back room or the backyard, Sports Ball Games makes every game day a team event. Play for fun, brag for real. There we go. We love the folks there at Sports Ball, and we just want to encourage you, check them out. I'm going to drop their link here in the comment box, and boom, you please check out that link. It's a lot of fun. Mr. Stewart could probably comment about it, and yeah, Mr. Stewart, you have to spend more time to be a big fan. So there you go. But check them out, and check out my books on Amazon, and all these things. You going with Kistler Law, you checking out Temple City Auto, buying my books on Amazon. These keep the kid employed. I have a day job. My job is I pastor a very small church in Burbank called Burbank Faith Nazarene. And you can check us out on YouTube at Burbank Faith Virtual, as well as BurbankFaithVirtual.com and Burbank Faith Virtual all across social media. And yeah, my books are on Amazon. I wrote a book last September, came out. Game Day in the Ram Cave. It's a fictional account of the Rams playing the Packers in the NFC title game. Got some good responses on that one. But check out these folks. We're really hoping that we could build our imprint here as we've moved to Restream. And I'm excited about it. And I'm excited about all the things I get to mess around with now. It's a lot of fun. All right, I'm going to come back and talk a little bit more about the Rams in a minute. But just a reminder, NFL trade deadline is Tuesday, November the 4th at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And right now, as Dano, you've asked, I hope you're still there. There are prizes for the World Series Square games. Okay, thank you, Mr. Stewart. I didn't know you were employed with the sports ball games, but we know those folks. Those are good folks. Thank you, Mr. Stewart, for talking about my books. But Dano, you were asking about who the Rams would be going after. And right now, the two things that have happened this year is they've kind of hit their expectation. I think the expectation was 5-2 at the break. They're 5-2. They have not had a catastrophic injury yet. Even Nakua going down is not catastrophic. In fact, for the beating his body takes, maybe a blessing in disguise that he missed the back half of the Baltimore game, missed the London game, and now has another week off. So that's about 2.5, close to 3 weeks of rest, because Pook is the guy that scares me the most. He's so physical that that I'm ready for that body to break down at any time. And so the Rams haven't had that catastrophic injury. And so right now they're in good shape. The closest thing you could say is Havenstein, but Warren McClendon has filled in really well at right tackle. So yeah, the Rams are looking good in that department. And so you might want to check out on the defense where they make their move. And Shea Stewart, see, I made you a star. On defense, I still want that defensive line wrecker there, Dano. Whether they spend big money and go getters, big draft capital for Jeffrey Simmons, Quinnen Williams in New York, maybe something a little bit less in someplace else. There's stuff out there. I would like somebody else to just be a toilet clogger. We love our linebackers. I think we want to see more of Sean Dolak. It's about giving him snaps. A cornerback, yeah, maybe just a depth piece at cornerback because there's just not a name guy that you could bring out there. I think we're all pretty happy with our safety room. And if the operations can just stay right, I don't think there's a problem with Joshua Carty. But anyone would get shell-shocked if you had as many kicks blocked as he has, because there are issues along the front. So do I see a huge move? I don't. And, this week is going to be a real telltale, because some teams are going to finally admit they're not in any kind of a playoff hunt, right? And right now, I think a lot of teams think they are. But I think after week 8, they're going to realize they are not in the playoff hunt, and they're probably going to move back from there. All right, let's keep chugging along here. Mike McDaniel apparently is not going anywhere. Ownership says they're not ready to make a move, and I have to amend what I've been saying the last 2 weeks. They don't just need to fire the GM, the head coach, and deal and get Tua out of town. They also got to find a way to get rid of ownership, because any ownership that is this blind for this long is not going anywhere. And poor Dolphin fans, right? Poor Dolphin fans. It's got to be a lot of misery there. Aaron Glenn is taking some heat. He's not saying who his starter is going to be, if it's going to be Tyrod Taylor or Justin Fields. And truthfully, I like Aaron Glenn. I think Aaron Glenn's going to try to follow that Dan Campbell model. They worked together for a lot of years there. They think alike. But Dan Campbell had Jared Goff. And Aaron Glenn doesn't. And so in Justin Fields, this is it. He's never going to be a starter again in the NFL. He's just never going to be. Tyrod Taylor has been a starter. Tyrod Taylor briefly got that second contract playing for Buffalo. Tyrod Taylor is an NFL quarterback, and he owes it to his team to put in the best quarterback there, not trying to develop and hopefully thinking that Justin Fields will suddenly turn into what everyone thought he would be. Justin Fields to stay in this league is going to have to become some kind of a slash Cordell Stewart type of player. He's talented. He's athletic. He's just not a quarterback, not in the NFL. And we had doubts about him going back to the Big Ten championship game where Ohio State nearly lost to Northwestern in his senior year. You could just tell that he is not a smooth passer. He's got a lot of talent, but yeah, to me, he's a very poor man's Jalen Hurts. I don't think Jalen Hurts is a super talented passer. He's not going to make those big time throws that a Mahomes or a Matthew Stafford makes. But of course, he's greatly efficient and he is a good quarterback. That would be the high point, the high ceiling there for Justin Fields. And he's just not there. He's just not even going to get there. And so, yeah, put Tyrod Taylor in, garner some good hope, pick off 3 wins before the season is over. Because right now, Aaron Glenn and the Jets are trending to an 0-17 season. Everyone else is fine. A blowout by the Eagles over the Giants could get people talking about Dayball again. I don't think that's going to happen. If the Eagles lose, they're going to talk about Sirianni again because they were lucky against Minnesota that they got to play Carson Wentz, right? And then the Cardinals are on a bye, so Jonathan Gannon is off the hot seat for a week, as is Rams special teams coach Chase Blackburn. So there we go. Willie Broen, thank you. LA Reign Supreme, horns up. There you go. Yeah, Willie, I'm all with you on that. We can say whatever we want here. If you get upset with them, you can trash them. Because I've been hard on the Rams because they haven't played well this year. And in London, they played 3.5 quarters of great football, taking away the third quarter from the offense. Other than that, the Rams were good. Shea Stewart asking, would I say the same about the Chargers? Chargers have to overcome the Spanos curse, man. They have to overcome the Spanos curse. They are beaten up. I think they're going to get Khalil Mack and Omarion Hampton back around week 10. Joe Alt will be available tomorrow night. I am taking them over the Vikings because I've thought since the beginning of the year the Vikings were way, way overrated. Let's see here. Oh, great line there. USA expat. His line was, I'll put it up there. Just keep the Jets away from our coaching staff next year. Yeah. Yeah, you can figure part of the Rams coaching staff, where are they going to be? Tennessee with the Jets, maybe Miami. I can't imagine any head coach of any substance really wanting to go to Miami. I think Miami is cruising for a major jet-like collapse. Something about that place is just not right. Continuing around the NFL, Brandon Graham comes back out of retirement, and the Eagles signed him to a 1-year contract. Smart move there. Former Ram Ochoan Mathis is signed with the Titans. He's continuing his tour of the NFL since leaving the Rams. Falcons released Ray McLeod. I once got a couple of good games out of McLeod as a fantasy player. Broncos put Dre Greenlaw on the suspended list. He threatened an NFL official after the Broncos pulled out that game. So you can see the 49ers issues with Dre Greenlaw might not have been just injury and age and stuff, but it might have been brain dead syndrome. And so what a brain dead thing to do after you win the game. The Steelers are designating Will Howard to return. And so Steeler fan Rob from Missouri, big Steeler fan there. He was preaching to me all year, all offseason, that Will Howard's going to be the guy. Now suddenly he's in love with the older quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. And the Dolphins, surprise, surprise, put Darren Waller on the IR. Darren Waller, 12 catches this year, 4 touchdowns. I mean, the guy's had a great comeback, but he's in Miami and now he's hurt. And I don't know how long he's hurt for, but if Miami was thinking, and this guy he's not hurt seriously, deal him for a 5th rounder. Somebody could probably use this guy. Somebody. The Jaguars could use a Darren Waller. Some of these guys just need another receiver. The Texans need another receiver. But I don't know how bad he is hurt. All right, let's just keep going around here. I wouldn't want to go to the Jets. No, I don't think you would either, Willie. I wouldn't want to go to the Jets either. That's a nightmare. But I think if they're patient and they give time, I think the worm will turn there. It's just going to take time. Also around the NFL here, Jaden Daniels out for week 8, low-grade hamstring. That means Marcus Mariota playing for the Taxkins, and that's not going to work. Tampa wide receiver Mike Evans, busted collarbone, put on the IR, likely could come back in January for the playoffs, and you'd hope so for Baker and Tampa's sake. This is the only thing that's going to stop Tampa. These injuries are just mounting up on them, and they don't have Chris Godwin again this week. They don't have Bucky Irvin again this week. So the Bucks, this is their issue, because I think this is a really good team. When healthy, straight up, they're as good as any team in the NFC. And the Titans have released Tyler Lockett, as was shared on Monday's show, that he had asked for his release. Smart move on that veteran's part. Somebody should go after him. Jacksonville, Houston, somebody that needs another receiver, they should go after Tyler Lockett. Maybe even the 49ers. I don't know if an old Seahawk hand can go to Frisco and want to be there. All right, let's keep rolling here. Let's look at the Rams thing one more time, since we've got a moment here. I'm not too deep into the show. What I wanted to go through here was the Rams roster, and that Rams roster is interesting to me. Like, who would you consider a bust or not having the year you thought he would have, right? So I'm looking here, and I'm looking at the safety room. Quentin Lake, Cam Kitchens, Cam Curl, and Jalen McCullough. I can't think of anything disappointing to say about the Rams safety room. I think they've been fantastic this year. I think they've been opportunistic. So that part's working really well for the Rams. Is there anything you're disappointed about in the linebacker room? Spates, Landman, Dolak. I think what we all want is we don't want Troy Reeder playing any defensive snaps, but Troy Reeder has been really good on special teams. Looking at the edge room, we just covered that. I think we're very pleased there. The cornerback room, I understand. I was very good with it at the start of the year, but as the season wore on, you could see there were deficiencies. Besides just not having that big physical corner, they weren't playing well or up to par. They've kind of tightened it up against lesser opponents. Well, I wouldn't consider Jacksonville completely lesser, but they tightened it up. Darius Williams has played well recently. I trust Kobe Durant. I like Emmanuel Forbes. He got physical this week. And then they're going to get Ahkello Witherspoon back sometime probably in December. He'll have fresh legs, and he should be ready to go. And so that'll be a really good sign. Could they pick up somebody there? Yeah. So if there was a disappointment anywhere along here, I guess I would say, because I was higher on them than any place else, it would have been the cornerback room. Let's see. I'll get there in a second. Let's continue with the defense. The front line, I think Tank Davis has really developed into something special. I think that's exciting. Braden Fisk, he's not grading that well on PFF, but we know what we see in Braden Fisk. Poona Ford's been a home run, kind of dispels the myth about Ram free agents, right? He's done well. And then you're getting snaps with Ty Hamilton. Of course, we love the conductor. I do like this team. I like this front. I'm a little sad to see DeJuan Johnson go, but it is his number looks like it's about up. And so, yeah, I love what we're seeing on the defense. No one's really disappointed me. I think it would have to be the corner room. In the wide receiver room, same old story with Tutu Atwell. We don't need to talk about Davis and Nakua, Adams and Nakua. But you know who's been disappointing a little bit is Jordan Whittington. I think we can all agree we would have expected just a little bit more out of Jordan Whittington. So there we go. That's funny. Okay. You guys are cracking me up. You're not supposed to make me laugh when I'm doing the show. So Jordan Whittington's been a little bit of a disappointment to me. I'm liking that Mumfield's getting snaps. And when rookie receivers that are drafted 6th, 7th round are getting snaps, that tells you that McVay likes them and that they're offering team. I'll always go back to Ben Skoranek in 2021, 7th round pick. I think he was 249 or 251 overall. And this guy's getting meaningful snaps throughout the season and then in the Super Bowl. When a guy figures out the offense, at least at receiver, McVay puts him in. And Kanata Mumfield slowly over the course of the last few weeks has been getting more snaps. He got his first catch the week before against Baltimore, and then he got his first touchdown this week against Jacksonville. So I am happy with Kanata Munfield. Little disappointing with Whittington. I'm still a Tutu Atwell guy. I think his snaps were limited. Wet field, nursing that hamstring. The tight end room, we just want to see more Ferguson, right? We just want to see more Ferguson. I can remember watching 1 Million Years BC when I was a kid. Remember that movie 1 Million Years BC with Raquel Welch? And when Raquel Welch was on, none of my older brothers and their friends left the room. When they moved away, the camera moved away from Raquel Welch, they got up and did other things, right? They just wanted to see Raquel Welch. They didn't care if she acted. They didn't care if whatever. They just wanted to see Raquel Welch. In fact, the Fantastic Voyage used to play a lot of times in my house. I never watched it. But same thing with Ferguson. We don't care if he blocks. We just want to see Ferguson out there because we're excited about seeing him. The linebacker, the tight end room is solid. I think Colby Parkinson's had a much better second year with the Rams than he did his first year. My only thing would be Higbee, but it's not disappointment. It's just Higbee's he's kind of at the end of the run, year 10. And then you get to the offensive line, Jackson, McClendon, Havenstein. I'm okay with that. DJ Humphries is in the queue. We're okay. Really happy with Kevin Dotson. Kevin Dotson's been solid. And Avila, I'm not going to say I'm neutral on Avila right now. I'm neutral. And I like Justin Diedick backing him up, so I'm pleased there. But Coleman Shelton, as USA Expat says, as Coleman Shelton, he is what I thought he'd be, right? That's exactly what I thought he would be. I thought Coleman Shelton would be that guy, and this is who Coleman Shelton is. Is he horrid? No. But does he move the needle? No. He's just a guy. And that's the part that's been really frustrating about Coleman Shelton. USA Expat, advice to Saints, do not try jumping off sides in front of Avila. I thought he smacked that guy harder. I think he kind of moved him a little bit, and the guy did a little theatrics, but yeah, that was funny. And that's a great thing for the Rams, right? You get the Euro game out of the way, you're on bye, and now you're going home, and you got the Saints coming to town in week 9. So that's a very good thing. Let's see. Mike Gutierrez, were it not for penalties in the Texans game, Whittington would have had over 100 all-purpose yards. Yeah, that was early in the season too, and that was on the kick returns and stuff. I'm not saying I dislike Jordan Whittington. It's just that I just want to see more out of him. USA Expat. I used to have that Raquel Welch poster on my wall. Yeah, I was too young for Raquel Welch. I had a Heather Thomas poster on my ceiling. I hope that doesn't say anything bad. There's just no place else to put it. But anyway, there we go. Let's keep pressing on here. Let's look at Thursday night, tomorrow. Vikings at the Chargers, the Ricky Young Bowl. Minnesota's getting exposed, right? Minnesota's getting exposed. Now, the Chargers have to overcome Spanos Mojo, the bad mojo, the Spanos brothers. But this battle continues. I'm going to take Harbaugh and the Bolts over the Spanos brothers, and that means they're going to get a win over the Vikings. Then on Sunday, coming up this week, week 8, Rams we get to sit back and watch it, which is kind of fun. Dolphins at the Falcons, rooting for the Dolphins this week against Atlanta. If Atlanta loses this game, there could be some issues developing there. I know Penix is a little banged up, but we're rooting for the Dolphins. I'm a big Mike McDaniel fan this week. Let's see if we can get off another win, put the Falcons underwater. Bears at the Ravens. Lamar is back at practice, but he can't fix that defense. Bears are humming right now. This will be a nice test game for them on the road. And if they lose it, they're 1-6 in Baltimore, and time to panic. Bills at the Panthers. Bryce Young is banged up. They say he's trying to gut it out. He says he wants to play. He's looking to play, but that's not for sure. And if they beat the Bills, all the good faith in the drain just drains out of the Bills' Super Bowl hopes, right? They can't lose this game. They can't. I'm taking the Bills. Jets at Bengals. Flacco fever escalates in the Boomer Bowl. I'm going with the Bengals in that one. 49ers at Texans. Rooting for Houston. Leaning Frisco in this one. Texans don't have enough. They just don't have enough, and the foolishly mismanaged their offensive line this year, offseason. We saw that coming back after the draft. They just mismanaged their offensive line. Browns at Patriots, the Willie McGinnis Bowl. Browns aren't pushovers, but the Pats should beat them. And for the narrative to change for the Patriots, to go from a good story to contender, they need to keep hammering teams like the Titans and the Browns. And I'm very optimistic about the Patriots. I'm not a fan, but I am optimistic for it. Giants 2-5 at the Eagles 5-2, the Norm Snead Bowl. Can't see Philly losing twice to the G-Men. Just can't. I'm not a Jalen Hurts believer in terms of him being elite, but I do believe he's very, very good. And his leadership and everything else about him is keeping the Eagles above water. If anything happens to him, it's a good night for the Eagles. Buccaneers at the Saints. Call this the 0-26 Bowl, paying homage to the Saints being the first team to lose to the Buccaneers when the Buccaneers started their NFL journey 0-26. There we go. Let's see here. We got some questions came in. Mike Gutierrez. Both teams will play desperate ball tomorrow, hoping for a high-scoring, close game. I'm hoping for the Chargers in the sense that we want a lot of these NFC teams knocked down. I don't think Minnesota's going to be a wild card threat, but we do want them knocked down. I want the deck cleared in case the worst happened for the Rams. Let's see. Steve Ramirez, right now, Falcons pick is 14. Yeah, you got to pick the Falcons in this one if you got money on it. But with your heart, looking at that number one pick, you're rooting for the Dolphins. Totally believe you there, Steve. Falcons have an upcoming 3-game stretch versus the Saints, Panthers, and Jets. Panthers aren't chumps. But it's the Panthers. So they're the Falcons, though. That's the good part. Steve Ramirez, isn't the Browns Pats the Belichick Bowl? Yeah, I didn't want to bring up Belichick because life's hard on Belichick these days. He's made some poor choices, and Belichick's like low-hanging fruit because or a piñata, right? And you got a Louisville Slugger because that dude's made some really bad choices. And I'm thinking about Belichick in terms of maybe this guy doesn't have anybody that loves him that says, Dad, you're really messing things up. So anyway, Mike Gutierrez, I feel for Texans fans. Their defense has allowed the least amount of points all season, but their offense can't do anything. How do you mismanage your offensive line like that? You give up Laramie Tunsil, and then you don't go and get a tackle in the first round. You wait later on the second day, and you take Aristay from Minnesota, who's not a bad kid, but come on. You had Tunsil. I don't get it. I just think they've butchered everything. They took their center. Is that Edwards or Andrews, their center? He didn't even play a down last year in New England. New England wasn't great on the offensive line. He didn't play a down. He was hurt, but still, they let him go. And no, he's your starting center. When people start bagging on CJ Stroud a little bit, just look what his team, his organization has done for him. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Cowboys at Broncos, the Super Bowl 12 Bowl. It's good that it's in Denver, but the Bronx keep playing with fire. They do. They keep playing with fire. I think they're going to, the Broncos remind me a little bit of the Rams in the sense that they're not crushing teams the way they should be crushing teams. They are good. I like Bo Nix. I think he's an adrenaline junkie. He likes everything to be a crisis, and maybe that's why he excels late in games. But Denver's playing with fire. Dallas provides a scare, but Dallas gets the loss in this one. I can't see that Broncos secondary allowing George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb to eat them up. Broncos have a good pass rush. Again, Cowboys are a great story. I hate to say that because I hate the Cowboys, but they're a great story. And they're 3-3-1. It's a great story. Schottenheimer should get votes for Coach of the Year, but the Broncos should take care of them. Titans at Colts in the Bubba and Tody Bowl. Bubba Smith played for the Colts. I think he even played for the Houston Oilers for a while. And Tody Smith, of course, played at USC and for the Houston Oilers. Indy Robson this game. The important thing about this one for Indy is they have to just make sure no one gets hurt. I think that's the most critical thing there for the Colts going forward. And I got a question out there. I'm going to post it for you guys to see. Let's see here. Could the AFC title game come down to the Colts and Patriots? Could it come down to the Colts and Patriots? I know everyone again is in love with the Chiefs, and Chiefs are great, but it's something, doesn't feel right. Is it sustaining? I don't know. Buffalo looks like a paper tiger. Baltimore is crushed. Steelers can't seem to put together long streaks of really good football. So who's left in the AFC, right? Colts, who've been the most consistent team probably all year, and the Patriots, right? Who are young but seem to be growing, and Vrabel, right? Vrabel is scary. I'm telling you, the Patriots, if they can hold this together, I think the Patriots could go to the Super Bowl. I think the Patriots could be in for a nice long run as contenders again. I do. Maybe you guys disagree, but I'll throw that one out there and I'll leave that up for you guys to digest. Willie Bowen, Falcons suck. I hope so. Steve Ramirez, sold on Indy, not yet on the Pats. Steve, what sells you on Indy and what doesn't have you convinced about the Patriots just yet? I'm looking at it from the Vrabel, Drake May perspective. I thought Drake May looked good against the Rams last year with a lesser team. I think he looks really good this year. And then Indy, it's like, man, at some point, I never hated Daniel Jones, but at some point, does the dam burst on this one? Or does he continue to be Indiana Jones, right? Micah Gutierrez, sounds like a fun divisional matchup from back in the day, right? AFC East. Sounds like Brady Peyton, right? Let's see. Steve Ramirez, I'd say my AFC title game right now is Bills at Colts. I like the Bills. I want Josh Allen to get there, but man, something about that loss the other night, the way they went down against the Falcons, I just didn't like it. It really bothered me. And, I know what Facenda would say. Facenda would say,
great teams aren't always great. They're just great when they have to be.
Right? If you pick that up, that's what Facenda would say. Great teams aren't always great. They're just great when they have to be. Can Buffalo be great when they have to be? Right? Can they be great when they have to be? And that one's going through my head about the Bills right now, where I'm struggling to dive in fully with them. Sunday night's game, Packers at Steelers, the Bruce Van Dyke Bowl. Bruce Van Dyke was a guard that played 7 years for the Steelers from 67 through 73. Awesome, right? The Steelers went 11-3. They had the Franco game in 72. Van Dyke came back in 73. But by 74, he was in Green Bay. And after laboring 7 years in Pittsburgh, Bruce Van Dyke watches the Steelers win titles in 74, 75, 78, and 79. Talk about a hard luck dude. So this is the Bruce Van Dyke Bowl. Packers at Steelers. Packers have to win this game. I mean, I don't think anyone's really, despite the KBM and Colin Coward basically crowning them as champs the first 2 weeks of the season, they have to win this game because they don't scare me. As a Ram fan, the Packers do not scare me, at least not yet. And I also want to see this thing. They were talking about through 5 games, Micah Parsons only had 2 sacks. And now he's in Green Bay. Green Bay's going to Pittsburgh, which is a better team. He ate 3 sacks last week. He ate pretty good against the Cardinals, but it's the Cardinals, right? He had 3 sacks there. Can he do it against the Steelers? And that Steeler offensive line, which I don't think is great, but it's not as bad as everyone was saying it was going to be, including me. And can Micah Parsons do that against the Steelers? I mean, Steelers want to win too, but the Packers should win this game. They need to win this game if we're going to be convinced about who they are. And I'm still not a Micah Parsons fan. I'm not a huge Micah Parsons fan. And then Monday night game, finally just one game. I think ABC and Disney wish the flex schedule was in already, because the Taxkins, without Jaden Daniels going to Arrowhead to play the Chiefs, in the Andrew Wiley Bowl, no Daniels, no chance. The Mariota dream ended a decade ago. So that's where we're at I finished 11-4 last week, got back into double digits. I'm ahead of schedule of where I've been the last 2 years. So my picks have been pretty good, trying to pick more head than heart. I do like the Rams against the bye this week. They might have to rally a little bit as they play their bye opponent, but I do believe in them. All right, Steve Ramirez, the old John Woodencoat. Be your best when your best is required. Oh, good call. Good call there. Let's see. Let's put that right there. I love that one. That's nice. Let's see. I'm trying to get it there. Be your best when your best is required. Good job, Steve. All right, guys, let's keep rolling along here. We got some more stuff to share. Oh, yeah, I did want to do this one. Let's do this one.
It was a stone group, my man.
All right. So, this day in Rams history, we talked about this on Monday, and here we go. On this day, October 22nd, 1974. You guys like the slide, huh? You like the slide? I like the slide a lot. It makes me feel so now, right? So meta, as you might say. But October 22nd, 1974, after losing in Green Bay, and the Rams in the middle of the game at Green Bay, benching John Hadle for James Harris, a week or so later, the Green Bay Packers and Dan Devine trade for John Hadle. They trade for John Hadle. And this is what the Rams got back. And I shared this on Monday, but I had the thing here and I said, why not share it? First round pick in 75, Mike Fanning. Second round, 75, Monty Jackson. That was number 28 overall because there were only 26 NFL teams. Third round in 75 was Jeff Reese out of Washington State. A year or so later, he was flipped to Seattle for the draft pick to take Nolan Cromwell. The Dennis Lick pick that eventually ended up in Chicago was flipped to the Detroit Lions in the Ron Jesse signing as compensation. And then the second round pick in 76 was Pat Thomas. I can say this, Monty Jackson was traded, but the Rams got a couple of all-pro seasons out of him. But Mike Fanning, Nolan Cromwell, and Pat Thomas all played in Super Bowl 14. Ron Jesse would have, but I think he broke a leg that year. So something. Dano, fancy, huh? Yeah, man. Pretty soon you guys got to make an appointment to come see me. Next thing you know, I'm going to be behind a Patreon account or a paywall or something, right? I'm going places. Let's see. Mike Gutierrez. Speaking of flexed games, I'll be surprised if our game versus the Lions isn't flexed to Sunday Night Football. Yeah, I don't know who's in the slot there at that time, but if the Rams are still clicking where they should be clicking, if they're doing what they should be doing, then the Lions are too. Yeah, that's just too big of a clash not to be moved to Sunday night, right? Absolutely. And we get them at home this year. I think the Rams got the Lions at home back in 2021. Remember, it took a Jalen Ramsey pick of a Jared Goff pass. The Lions played really well that day, and the Rams got the win. The games since have been in Detroit, so it'll be interesting now with all the success how Jared Goff is welcomed back. Do they do a little quid pro quo where Ram fans are bitter towards Jared Goff? I don't think they will be because I don't think the Rams fans are as passionate as everyone else is. Let's see. DHP. Hey, Joe, I'll be at the Rams versus the Saints on November 2nd. All right. Good for you, man. That's awesome. Where are you going to be sitting? And do you have somebody else paying? That's the most important thing, right? But congrats. I expect a full detailed report. USA expat. Huge Nolan Cromwell fan. So, yes, we'll put that in there for sure. Everyone loves Nolan Cromwell. I know Steve Ramirez and I go back and forth. Steve's sports writer too for a lot of years at the San Gabriel Valley Tribune. And we go back and forth about Super Bowl 14. Everyone knows the pick six drop that Cromwell had. I think it was in the third quarter. It was in the third. And Steve has talked about that being a big one for him. The big one for me was Eddie Brown blowing the coverage against John Stallworth on the go-ahead touchdown the Steelers scored. Because Pat Thomas had knocked Lynn Swann out of the game. Stallworth should have been in double coverage the whole time. Everyone knew that. And Bradshaw didn't even use play action. Bradshaw just dropped back to pass. And Eddie Brown stood flat-footed. Rod Perry let him take the inside route because he was supposed to get help. And if Perry had been 5'9" and a half inches, he might have knocked that ball away. But my heart was on Eddie Brown. I didn't know who it was at the time because until I saw the highlights later. But we knew and that's why is Stallworth in single coverage. That was just ridiculous. And yeah, as you can see, I'm not over it. There you go. Let's see, Steve Ramirez. I'm going to post that here, Steve. The Rams-Packers trade was the result after the Saints reneged on a trade agreement, sending Archie Manning to the Packers for the same compensation. Devine then went after John Hadle. Okay, now here's the interesting thing. For Archie Manning at that time, yeah, you could understand it. The guy was uber talented. He was rotting there in New Orleans, and it never got better, right? And it never really got better in Green Bay either. They couldn't really get it together until post Bart Starr, and really until what's his name got there. Oh my gosh, you know the coach, Mike. What's his name? Anyway, the one that brought Brett Favre in and stuff. They really didn't turn it around. A little bit started with Mikowski, and Mikowski got hurt and stuff. They started to turn it around, but that was a dormant franchise. I mean, they couldn't make it work with Lynn Dickey, underrated quarterback. If the Rams had Lynn Dickey in the 70s, I'll argue they could have gone to a Super Bowl. But Lynn Dickey throwing to John Jefferson, James Lofton, Paul Kaufman, Eddie Lee Ivory, and they couldn't get the offensive line right, and they killed Lynn Dickey pretty much. Let's see. All right, let's see. USA expat. Eddie Brown's name is up there with John Shaw. Yes, it is. It is right up there. Absolutely. Manny Correa. What's up, Manny? Thanks for clicking on. Brian Smith, who disagrees with me. If we should be 7-0, why would we need to make any trades? Okay, haven't I argued that we don't really need desperate trades? The Rams were pretty dominant down the stretch there in 2021 after November passed. They still kept adding when they added Von Miller and signed OBJ and all those things. So I have no problem making a trade to add. But yeah, you and I disagree. I still think there's going to be a 49er collapse. And I told you, you can come on here, and I'll even put it right here on the board now. Joe, you suck if the 49ers don't collapse. I'll fully take that. Manny, Manuel, all saying hi to each other. USA expat puts it there. Best game this Sunday is the Dodgers game. Toronto in a sweep. I'm saying it. Toronto in a sweep. That's what I'm taking right now. Take Toronto in a sweep. Is that terrible? Is that bad on my part? Okay. Let's see. We've hit the 50-minute mark. That's kind of where I wanted to go. Be sure to check us out all across the social media places. Like, leave a comment. If you're on YouTube there, hit a subscribe button. It helps us stay in the algorithm, helps us climb ball, helps us with our sponsors. And one, I wanted to do it here on Restream. It will be on YouTube, and it will be Kistler Law Firm. Be sure to check out Kistler Law Firm if you're here in California. Brian Smith, I thought we had an interaction that you didn't agree with. Maybe it was somebody else. We had a disagreement where you didn't think a 49er collapse was coming, and it was just me. I apologize because I do think a 49er collapse is going to come. I think they're running on raw emotion, and at a certain point, it's going to fall. And I do give full credit to Shanahan on that. I'm just not a Shanahan guy in the fourth quarter. That's my problem. But they're getting amazing clicks, right? And if you want to give Robert Saleh Coach of the Year votes as a DS or a DC, absolutely. Knock it out. So I'm sorry if I put you on the spot there, Brian, but I'm going Toronto 4 games. Are you saying you agree with me on Toronto in 4? Maybe that's what you're saying. Let's see. Steve Ramirez, did you see Chuck Knox has been nominated for the Hall of Fame? No, I didn't. And I'm guessing by you telling me this, I'm imagining Don Klosterman didn't make the ballot as a contributor or anything. I did see Torrey Holt. I did see London Fletcher. Steven Jackson should have been on there. Can you imagine Steven Jackson in this Rams offense? That's a dream, right? All right, cool. I think we got it. Did we get it? I think we got it. All right, guys, we're over the 50-minute mark. We're coming up to 55. All of you, thank you for hanging out and just putting up with me. When I get this thing wired down a little bit in another week or so, or somewhat wired down, maybe we'll make a decision about start times. I like the 5 o'clock, but I think the 3 o'clock time might work a little bit better for some of you East Coast guys. I don't know. Let me know, and we'll go from there. All right. In the meantime, just remember our sponsor, Kistler Law. Thank you for Kistler Law for all their support. And yeah, so God bless. Take care. And we will see you guys on Friday. Brian Smith, we have to beat the Seattle twice to make the playoffs. I think we could split and still make the playoffs. Rams go 4-2 in the division. God bless, guys. We'll talk to you.